what we want to do is take note of the connection between roots and factors of polynomials. And in particular with this video, we want to make a connection between non-real roots and factors of polynomials. So think about this one. We've got this polynomial. It's a third-degree polynomial, and we're told that negative I and I are both roots of the polynomial. Now, remember, non-real roots travel in pairs. So if I is a root, then negative I would be a root. They travel in conjugate pairs. So even if they didn't tell us that negative I were here, we would know it was. So let's see how we would find the other factor of this polynomial, because they told us to factor it. Well, we know that x minus I and x plus I, those are factors of the polynomial, because remember, if you have a root, then x minus that root, that's a factor of the polynomial. So x minus I, that's right here. X minus a negative I, that's right here. And if I multiply these out, I just get x squared plus 1. If I went through the process of distributing, this is what I would get. I would get really, I would get an x squared minus I squared, but I squared is negative 1, so it would be an x squared plus 1. Now, what I want to do with this right here represents these two factors multiplied together. Now, what I want to do is I want to find the other factor by dividing this into the polynomial this way. Now notice, I've got x squared plus 1. I don't want to skip terms, so I've got x squared plus 0x plus 1. This way everything will line up nicely. And then I want to divide that into x cubed minus 4x squared plus x minus 4. So here we go. X squared will go into x cubed once, x times, I should say. X cubed divided by x squared, x times. Then I multiply. X times x squared times 0x squared, times 0x times 1. Okay, so there's the product. And then I subtract. Negative 4x squared minus nothing is negative 4x squared, and then x minus x, 0x. And I bring down the negative 4. Okay, now the whole process again. X squared divided by, or negative 4x squared divided by x squared, I should say. So this over this. Notice the x squareds cancel and I just get negative 4. And then I multiply. See? Multiplied negative 4 times this, and I get this. Okay? And then I subtract. And I get a 0. And this is what you would expect, because remember, we were told that, negative I and I are roots. That means x minus I and x plus I are factors, so their product would divide evenly into the original because they're factors. So the product of two factors divided into the function will go evenly. Now, here's what we have. We have the function x cubed minus 4x squared plus x minus 4 over x squared plus 1 is equal to x minus 4. Or another way to look at it is x cubed minus 4x squared plus x minus 4 is equal to x squared plus 1 times x minus 4. So what we've done here is we factored this function. We factored it. Here's the factorization. And we did it by knowing what two of the roots were. Now let's look at another polynomial with a little more complex roots. Pun intended. No, so instead of saying that negative I and positive I are roots, now we have 1 plus I and 1 minus I are roots. Now here's what we know, and here's the connection we need to make and have firmly in mind, that if 1 plus I is a root, then x minus 1 plus I is a factor. So this right here is a factor of this polynomial. And x minus 1 minus I, see 1 minus I is a root, then this is a factor. So this means that if we multiply these two together, they will divide evenly into this f of x. And by doing this, we'll find another factor. So I need to multiply this out. Now the way I multiply this out is I take this x minus 1 and I group it right here. So I change the grouping a little bit. I distribute the minus through and I have x minus 1 plus I. See? This right here is this. And then I do the same thing for this one, x minus 1 minus I. See, that distributes through there. And now I have, look, a plus b times a minus b. See, those are just, that we know what a plus b times a minus b is. It's a squared minus b squared. So I have the first squared minus the second squared. So this is a real quick way to do the multiplication. And then I can just multiply this out. And I get x squared minus 2x plus 1. That's this. And then minus I squared, well, that's just plus 1. Because I squared is negative 1. A negative in front of negative 1 makes a plus 1. So what we get is x squared minus 2x plus 2. That is the product of these factors. Now, I know that this will divide evenly into the polynomial. So let's check that out. Here we go. We're going to divide. So I've got x cubed divided by x squared. That will go x times. Then I multiply. And I got x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2x. Subtract. And it looks like I'm just going to get negative 2x here and a 4x here. See? So negative 4x squared minus a negative 2x squared gives me a negative 2x squared. 6x minus 2x is 4x. And then I bring down the next term. See? Now, x squared will go into negative 2x squared, negative 2 times. Then I multiply. Okay, multiply. And there's a mistake here. That shouldn't be 2x squared. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, I think I fixed it. So now look what we've got here. We've got negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 4 minus the same thing. So that gives you a 0 remainder. And yeah, we knew that was going to happen because we knew that this will divide evenly into this. So here's what we've got. We've got x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4. That's our function. Divided by x squared minus 2x plus 2. That's the product of those factors with the complex numbers that we divided into it, and we get an x minus 2. Well, this is our other factor right here. So in other words, what we see is that x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4 is equal to this. This is the factorization right here. Okay? So now, just to rewrite this, to put it back like it was, this x squared minus 2x plus 2, that's this right here. So you can immediately see what the roots are. The roots are 1 minus I, 1 plus I, and 2. See? So the factors, x minus a root. If you have a root, x minus that is the factor.